Lord's family, the Lord, despot. We get the word despotic from it, but that's not how he meant it. So the desposity are the Lord's family, and he says afterwards, Herod burned all the debt records, the genealogical records, because he was jealous of the Messiah, whatever the truth of that, I don't know. And so on, he didn't want, Herod may have destroyed the genealogical records because he didn't want the Maccabean family to survive, but I don't know if he was jealous of the child Jesus yet, but in any case. But the Lord's family did have its records and did be able to, take themselves back to David's family. This note says, I don't have it in front of me. You guys have been reading Eusebius in classes. You probably have it. And again, it's from, I think, Julius Africanus. And they settled in 2 cities. He doesn't identify where these are. Nazareth and Kokhaba. Kokhaba, or it can be Kokhaba. Depends how you, B's and V's are interchangeable, depending on how you accent them. Well, Nazareth means shoot. That's a messianic notation. Kokhaba means star. They settle in 2 cities, the star and shoot cities. These are very messianic expressions. Now, Nazareth may have developed out of this Nazareth place, wherever that was, and I have no idea where it was. Eusebius by Julius Africanus, a 2nd century writer, implies it's in Judea proper. But who's the leader of the next generation? Bar Kokhba. Right? Well, that's normally taken as a designation, son of the star. And perhaps based on the star prophecy, right? Star will rise from Jacob, scepter to rule the world, never forget it, Numbers 24:17. Okay? Now, does it come from this town? Was Bar Kokhba one of the descendants of the desposity out of the town of Kokhaba? Did he actually come from Kokhaba or Kokhaba? I don't know. I put in my book a place near Jericho that was normally thought of as being Kokhaba, where there's a famous Greek Orthodox Christian monastery of very early date called the Monastery of St. George, which is around 4th century Greek Orthodox monastery. And there's a picture of it in my book in the picture sections, if you the New Testament code, if you buy or get a hold of that book. And it's still there. It's one of the oldest monasteries in existence. And I think these monasteries grew up on places where these bands were pulling up. So it wouldn't surprise me if this was where Bar Kokhba came from, Kokhaba, the leader of the Second Jewish Revolt, the Messianic leader, clearly. I'm sure he made Davidic claims. We don't have as much about Bar Kokhba. Why don't we have as much about Bar Kokhba as we have about Maternal and Josephus? The Romans killed everybody, but this time no Josephus survived to tell us about it. I mean, Josephus was a total rotter, as we discussed, and traitor, and sycophant, and just the worst sort of human slime. But he has some redeeming qualities. He's proud of his origins and proud of his people and so on, even though he wanted to toss in the towel. There's a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that in the Holocaust, unfortunately. When you're up against the wall, you do weird things, or you do what seem unseemly things. But he survived, and we have to be grateful because he gave us this encyclopedic presentation material from this period. But we don't have anyone from the Bar Kokhba period that gave us that contribution. We don't know all the details of the Bar Kokhba matter. We just have a smattering of materials about Bar Kokhba. Okay. So that could be, and the last thing about that, if you look on your maps, you look at the Palestine-Israeli fighting in southern Lebanon, One of the strongholds, and then more recently Hezbollah, Army of God, basically stealing all their ideas from the Old Testament Dead Sea Scrolls anyway, but then they fight the Old Testament Dead Sea Scrolls people. You know, that's another example of turning the people who started these ideas, turning their ideas against themselves. It's another, you can't tell the Muslims or the Hezbollah or any of these people such things because they cut your head off. Because their ears, Jesus didn't come along to unstop them yet, but they don't want to see anything pre-Muhammad, but basically they're just picking up the most extreme ideas from this period and still embodying them, quite unfortunately, I think. But be that as it may, in the center of southern Lebanon area where a lot of this is going on, you look at your map, you'll see a town called what? Kaukaba. Kaukaba. And Kaukaba in Arabic is just Kokaba in Hebrew. Kaukaba means star in Arabic. So there is actually a town in southern Lebanon called Kaukaba. I don't know what to make of it, but it's there. And sometimes these towns go way, way back. I don't know how far back, but sometimes go. So there is actually a town called Kaukaba, Star Town. Don't tell the star people who are these cult people who about this. They might all go run and try to commit suicide and go to the next dimension or something from there. I don't know. Okay. So that's so we're getting in now to a chapter. They cross over Gennesaret, and they brought more diseased men, and they touched the hem of his coat, and they were all perfectly well. To my mind, all those touching episodes I told you come from that one episode in Jerome, where he says, and James was so holy that the people tried to touch the hem of his garment as he walked by. Now, where he got that from the people of Jerusalem, obviously, that they remembered that. And I think all that, these are variations on that. It may not be true, but anyway, Jesus is certainly God-man, Dionysus, Escopus walking around. And maybe a few other gods like Osiris thrown in. I think the combination would be Escopus, Dionysus, Osiris. Or Horus, because you have to throw the Egyptian materials in too, because a lot of this stuff comes, I think, originally from Alexandria in Egypt, where people were purveying this material because of certain problems that the mission to Gaius and Philo points out. We did all this.